Hello YouTube. Here we are, have ourselves a start to another day, of course. One more day to, well, get on through. I've been doing a few more things around the house here in the office. And yeah, welcome to our vlog. So, here we go. Well, currently we're getting some more light snow coming on in. Don't know if it's snow or fog or so, but I guess, well, winter weather, right? It can go either way. Well, been kind of on an editing spree, getting some videos prepared. A lot of the vlogging videos are coming down the pipeline. I got me a couple of Maxwell's World videos shot, which is definitely a plus. I need to, of course, give those an upload here as soon as the vlogs roll on through, and then, well, it'll all be well. It's kind of funny how things go. You know, you go in a roll for a while, or at least with me anyway, where I will film quite a few videos, whether it's project videos and other videos, and then all of a sudden, I don't know if I tend to get sidetracked and not film, and then you get down to your last 5 or 6, and then you remember, oh yeah, you know, you got to film some more. So then you, well, film another bundle or batch, and then I guess maybe that's just the way, well, it's supposed to work. In the perfect world, there would be a project going on in the basement. I would finish the, you know, another part down there, but I think for this season there won't be much, if anything at all, going on in the basement. I think it will be pretty much, you know, quiet down there, and it'll be what it is. Give things a chance to sort itself out, and the way things are looking right now, the summer, I'll probably, you know, do some things for me. There'll be a few days there where, you know, I'll be traveling and away, and then there'll be a few days where I'll probably be down due to medical. And then hopefully by then we have everything sorted out for, you know, late summer, and then we can start the basement project, and just a matter of how far you want to take her, right? And I know I've touched on it in other videos, but this basement is not part of the living area, so it's going to be, you know, not quite as fancy as the first half of the project that I did. So it's more of a utility type an area over a living space, just a you know, extra piece, right? So of course, once that's all underway, a lot can change in a year or two. You know, who would have thought that in the fall of 15 I'd be where I am right now, or even the fall of 14 when I had just gotten, well, you know, let go, where I'd be right now, and or even the fall of 13, you know, dealing with the broken hand and all, how things had turned around, got a little better, and then turned again and kind of went down a bit. That's the part of life. Some people will argue with you and say that your destiny or your life is already written or pre-planned, or, you know, already decided for you, and basically you're just a lost boat kind of floating throughout wherever your, you know, like the current in the ocean takes you. And I believe that you make your choices. You know, sure, you know, maybe I was meant to be where I am right now, and in the, you know, financial state, or, you know, with the house in the Silverado, and you know, kind of relationship status, stuff like that, where I am right now. But however, I could have, you know, chose when I was younger to have gotten married. I'm pretty sure, you know, I could have jumped on in with, you know, one of somebody else at an earlier date, or I could have chosen to have, you know, financed a fancier house. I could have chosen not to have bought the Silverado. that had a couple of things going for it that weren't exactly what, I was looking for in a truck, but then you make the choice to do it. It's like I could hop in the truck right now and go to the city. However, I chose to stay here this weekend. It's kind of, people say that that's already decided, but how is things decided for you when there's so much outside influences at play that can change at a moment's notice? A few things happened this year that I had no idea would happen. One of the biggest things, of course, was the loss of my dad, which changed quite a bit. It didn't change my lifestyle as in like, but it changed my circle of outings. It changed my family dynamics. It changed things like that line of things. But as for, where I live or my vehicle or who I am, I've always been this kind of person, even going back when I was a kid. If something needed to be done, it got done. If somebody needed something, well, they got it. I helped them. If there was something that, regardless of what time of day or night, when I was younger, people could call me. And I don't know if life, gets to you after a while, and then pretty soon you don't answer the phone anymore. Because you find that the more and more you give, the less and less you have for yourself in time for return. And sometimes you call on these people that you helped in the past, and they don't return not so much the favor, but the gesture of goodwill that you gave them. It's not like when I helped people move years ago that I was expecting that, someday I could call them. But there's times where, I needed a ride, or there was times when I had a broken hand that it would have been nice to have, had help with, say, things, and there wasn't there. Or even, the stretch that I'm going through now without the job and stuff. There was some tight spots that even have somebody to talk to would have been nice to make sure that I was making the right choice. However, that being said, do you rely on information that other people give you for your life decisions? Or do you make it yourself, It's like if somebody says, oh my, your truck is 14 years old, why don't you go get rid of it and buy a new one? And you go do it. Well, that doesn't mean you should have. That just means that one of your friends, didn't like riding in your old truck and wanted you to buy a new one, Ultimately, the choice is yours. Like, I could have chose to hang out with some of the in crowd in school. However, it's the in crowd that has criminal records right now. And whether it's resisting arrest or DWIs or other things, a couple of these so-called in crowds are actually in jail. And when you think of it, that possibility, that could have been me. I suppose, the choices you make may not affect your life right now, but in 2-3 years, you never know how things could go. Just because you've been approved for financing on a brand new vehicle and you can make the payment right now, what happens in 2 years or 3 years if things get tighter? Could you make that payment? I've had vehicle payments that were $200 a month. And I've had vehicle payments that were $525, and the $525 a month payment was hard enough to make for, the 6 years, much less anything higher than that. And especially when hours and jobs and income and cost of living is so up and down and not stable right now, is you never know, right? Some companies are actually changing even more. There's, more jobs on the line, more families getting torn apart still. This has been going on for, a while now, and as things keep slowing on down and as things don't start up the way they're projecting or hoping they're going to be, there's going to be even more yet. So, and it is what it is. Of course, I've always kept on, and if things need to get sold, well, I let things go that are in my life that are replaceable, keeping things that, you can't replace or that mean a lot to you, and if that choice happens, well then, it is what it is, right? But pretty much, guys, of course, I want to head out today, mainly for an outing, just to get out of the house. I went out and picked up groceries the other day or so. Today is kind of just an out and about, and maybe the big shopping centers would be a little bit quieter, and a guy like me can go in there and have a little bit of time without getting so crowded and overwhelmed. A couple of places have dash cameras on sale, so you never know how that may turn out. The SJ6000 works okay for a dash camera. It has good image stabilization, and the video footage is quite acceptable compared to other dash cameras I have. But I've always looking for new things to review or test on the Maxwell's World channel, and what better to look at than a piece of tech, right? If it helps somebody out in their decision whether to buy or not to buy something, then that's the whole purpose behind the channel, is to help people out. But gonna go out, see what's what, and we'll probably see y'all later. I just got back in from an outing. First of all, I'd like to say I love the new dollar stores. There was a time when, well, the dollar stores in this town where, well, they were dollar stores, but they were really, really cheap merchandises and cheap quality and garbage, and they weren't really much of any value. Then a few years ago, whatever it was, probably 10, 15 years ago, they closed one of them, and then the other dollar store diversified and kind of became like a dollar or more kind of store. And then they ended up bringing in more things like cups and vases, and they got some items in there that are like $150, $200, and it's like, is that really a dollar store? And they still had their cheap electronic components like HDMI cables and speaker wire and stuff and stationery and that there, but really didn't have much use for them. Well, with the trips to the city and stuff, you run into the dollar stores in the city, and when things are tight, when you're up there on a fixed income trying to attend these programs as well as still trying to eat, and you tend to gravitate toward stores like that when you can get like a pack of noodles for like $1.25, add water to the cup and away you go. Well, even though the economy is down, they've still opened up 2 new dollar stores here in this town, and they are very, very much interesting. I have been buying, pop there and chips there, and kitchen stuff there, plastic wrap. It's all sorts of good stuff there, and some of the same stuff you buy there, you buy at a store, and it's like 4 times as much, and really it lasts about the same. The quality to me is still there, and well, it's all good. I don't understand how these big box retail stores have to charge, $3, $4 for something when a dollar store sells the same thing for less. People say, well, it's the expiry date. Well, the expiry date is still well within the time it would normally take you to use it anyways, so how much does it really cost to make a 2-liter bottle of Coke? Does it cost $3, or does it only cost about 25 cents? So really, by them charging what they charge, they're just lining their pockets deeper with our, hard-earned money. So of course, got to put that away. See how the old evening goes, check on the uploads. Seems to be the old routine. Think I'm gonna fire up the barbecue and have a barbecue. I'm not 100% sure about actually filming it because, well, as you can see, it's starting to get dark behind me, so by the time she gets done filming, it'll probably be dark anyway, so I might strike out and try. We'll see how it gets. So we'll go back in, have some supper, relax for the evening, and we'll see y'all later. We come to the end of another day. Well, of course, as you've seen there, I went out and did a few things. Picked up some groceries for the next little while. Had a, well, fairly decent, relaxing day all day. And then headed on out and did a few things. Kind of some check-in, some running around. Stopped at a couple of dollar stores, which is most definitely budget, friendly. Picked up some goodies there. I had a really good barbecue, which most definitely is a bonus. And really, here we are now, pretty much ready to shut her on down for the day, and around we go. So of course, thanks for watching this here vlog. Down in this description is, well, links to the social medias and links to the other channels. Go check them on out, subscribe, follow, tweet, and all that good stuff. And again, thanks for watching Maxwell's Vlogs. Comment, subscribe, and enjoy.